Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Do we have the gold? Yes. Gold shall destroy Fed. QAnon. That's right. We're going to explore the phenomenon of QAnon. And this post, which was answered from a Q&A session on December the 12th. Let's explore. Yes, the idea of what has been occurring over the past year or so is the next level of anonymous. Essentially, anonymous is someone or some people who have some inside information somewhere. And QAnon is sort of the domestic version of that phenomenon here in the United States. Someone or some ones or some folks who are somehow associated with the federal government, either operating within the confines of the bureaucracy or system, to expose it and expose what's known as the deep state working against President Trump. Now, as to the validity of some of what they say, and especially with what we're looking at here, with some of the Q&As and some of the claims that have been made, yes, a lot of it is certainly up to debate, and some of the claims made, some may wonder, why would they say certain things to discredit themselves that have not come true. But regardless, it's obvious that this type of a situation or what's going on is a phenomenon that people are paying attention to and are curious about. No matter what your feelings are about QAnon and the things that they do say, I think it is abundantly clear that really there is a deep state, a swamp, so to speak, and that has been around for many, many years. The last time that the first exposition of it that I found, that was when Condoleezza Rice headed up the State Department. And she basically presided over an unchanged State Department that had been entrenched since the Johnson administration. Many holdovers there. A lot of these government agencies and executive branch of the government are really hardened and deep-rooted, and a lot of it based with a progressive and leftist philosophy, so to speak, and they've not really been uprooted or reformed. And my hope is that under the Trump administration we will see some of that purging, or at least to be able to make some inroads. And for some people to be able to expose it is through situations such as you see with QAnon. Now, some of the validity of some of the things said and published by Q has certainly come into play, and I think some of the things that haven't come true, for one reason or another, I think, questions of validity therein, but nonetheless, there's other things that are obviously interesting, and that's what we're going to explore today. As you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do find some things interesting, and I believe that where there is truth, no matter where it comes from, it should be explored. Or if there's a prediction, let's take a look at it. Let's see. And that's what we're going to look at here with QAnon and the question and answer session that they had on December the 12th. And as some members of the community here have posted in the comments section of my videos talking about this and making me aware of it. So let's take a look at it. The questions, there were several questions asked in this Q&A session, and that were answered for many different things. Everything related to, is the Earth flat, or is JFK Jr. dead? But this one I found very interesting, because not only does he answer the question, or they answer the question forthright, but they also go in and make a prediction as to what is going to happen in the future. The question is do we have the gold? Now, that question that was posted was quite interesting, and I believe it is in reference to Fort Knox and the United States government. Do we have the gold that's in Fort Knox and in our reserves? Because most data that comes from World Gold Council and official sources show that the United States has by far and above the largest gold reserves in the entire world. And of course we know that Russia and China are accumulating gold too, record pace, and India as well. And so there's a lot of gold that is being accumulated. But the federal government here, the U.S., we have the most. So the answer to that question is yes. Period. That's it. We have the gold. And so then he goes on to say that gold shall destroy Fed. Now that's interesting. That is a statement that is worthy of kind of taking a look at to see what's going to happen. What does it mean? It could mean a myriad of different things. Domestically, it could mean a theory that I had floated out there as a possibility of what could be happening right now. And that is, we've had things like Bretton Woods and Jekyll Island, where monetary policy has been, examined and planned and reformed, and with the dollar and the gold standard during those times. And I believe we could possibly be in the throes of maybe another one. Maybe it's Jackson Hole, which is where the Fed meets. And the thing is that the Fed is meeting there to be able to plan things, and with government agencies, they will be a part of it probably, of whatever this new system could be through a dollar reset. Will it involve gold? And would the Federal Reserve ever in any way, shape, or form ever be open to such a thing? Because gold is the ultimate way to discipline yourself is in terms of spending and and how you do things. In other words, if you have gold as a standard, can that be something, could they do all the quantitative easing that they've been doing? I don't know. Potentially, possibly, they may find a way, if anybody can find a way to be able to give a false sense of security using a gold as a gold standard and plan it out in such a way, then it's quite possible that they could take that and use it to their advantage, revaluing gold and revaluing the dollar and the like to be able to meet to their advantage. And it would also give people a false sense of security using the gold standard as a way to be able to do it, to throw off the other countries around the world who are accumulating all this gold. Make no mistake, the Federal Reserve knows and is paying attention to all these other nations accumulating gold. And my guess is they're probably going to try to beat it to the punch, so to speak, and to figure something out. We'll see. That's just a theory. I don't know that that's going on or not. It's just something that if I were in their shoes, I would be planning something some way before a major crisis occurs, while we have the luxury of time and resources to do so. So that's one theory, but that would not destroy the Fed. It may destroy the Fed as we know it. And if QAnon is somebody that really is an administration and in the know and has access to information and knowledge of some of these things, even though my guess is it's probably more military sided, they may have some other folks in their network that could be making up that possibly they may have some inside information there, which means it could destroy the Fed as we know it. And although the Federal Reserve, the rebirth of it, the phoenix rising from the ashes, could be another type of Federal Reserve that gives them the power, and it's all about power and control, and they will basically use gold to their advantage in that new system, so that folks like you and me that have gold and accumulate it, it will essentially weaken us in this new system. And but we'll see how that all plays out. If they can find a way to use gold to their advantage to disarm, the independents, they're going to try their best. I don't know how that would work, but that's one theory that could be as I've thought about this. The other theory of how gold shall destroy Fed is the other nations in the world. China, the BRICS nations, India, Russia, they possibly moving to a gold standard or a collective gold standard under their currencies. As they accumulate more gold, they essentially are empowering themselves with preserved wealth. These nations accumulating gold are growing in numbers. Hungary, Turkey, and other smaller nations are accumulating more gold. And it could be that collective of those nations, possibly under this new system, that they possibly could work with, especially considering that we have the Asian markets, and then we also have the London and New York markets, the West versus the East. How will that play out? The collective of gold accumulation in the East compared to the West, it may be a matter of that. And that could possibly be one way that they feel like if these other nations have a gold standard and they trust that over the fiat system of a Federal Reserve bank note that is essentially losing value each year, that maybe is a perception of the death of the Fed as we know it, which means that the trust in other nations around the world in the dollar could be waning. And for both of these theories, I'm just basically thinking about what possibly could be going through their heads or what they could mean by it, because it's really open-ended. Gold shall destroy Fed. How is that going to happen? It could be a myriad of different ways to occur. Regardless of what the answer is, I still believe that even in the first scenario, for you and I to accumulate these precious metals, gold and silver, I believe it is wise to do so because, sooner or later, that is, well, really, and even today, it's a standard bearer. The gold standard is something that, it's got value. And it's something that will last for millennia. And it has lasted for millennia and will continue to do so. Nothing can replace gold. We have cryptocurrencies out there, and it could be, I think a lot of this stuff is going to, wherever, all these currencies around the world are going to be somehow tied to some sort of a ledger system, such as a blockchain or hash graph technologies. And we're already seeing it with precious metals, with legitimate, real organizations that are getting involved with blockchain and being able to buy and sell gold in that way. Gold that is backed up by the physical. And of course, as we know, you don't own it until you hold it for all intents and purposes. But transactions that occur in milliseconds, the only way to really do that is digitally. And so this is an aspect and a way to be able to usher in a new system of money. And I think that's kind of what is occurring here, to tie in the old with the new, or the trusted with technology. And so again, it could be interpreted a myriad of different ways. Post your thoughts below on what you think this statement means. Gold shall destroy Fed. Let me know what you think. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude y'all for watching, and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.